Hey everyone, it's AJ with Southpaw Creative. It's been a while and I'm back. I'm back from Comic-Con. So we're going to test out some of my favorite colored pencils. This is Caran d'Ache Pablo. It is a hexagonal pencil and it's made in Switzerland and very high quality, fine crafted pencil. On the other side is a light fast rating with the stars, as you can see. And they're a little bit slimmer than the other pencils that I have here. However, that does not really reflect their performance. And they are an oil-based pencil as well, as all of these pencils are. These actually are some of my favorite for fine details and good coverage. And you can see that they're very well made. Second in the row here is, some of you love these pencils and I love these pencils too. It's Faber-Castell Polychromos and they're made in Germany. They're some of the most popular colored pencils in the high quality scale. On the other side you can see the English and the German version of the name, and they're very well cased in lead cased wood-based pencils. And the third on the list has caused some controversy because I use them in my best colored pencils, but it's the Holbein Artist Colored Pencil. They're a Japanese pencil. And on the other side, you can see the light fast rating in the name. And they are kind of softer than the other two, but they get great coverage. I love the variety and the color line. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of go through some testing with you guys and show you how they perform, how they blend, and we're going to get started here in just a moment. And you can see I've tried to match the colors as much as possible, so you can see that there's a little bit of a difference in the red with the Polychromos, but I did as best as I could to get the similar colors. And let's go ahead and get started with this test. So in the first column, I am doing the Caran d'Ache Pablo, and not all of this is done in a time lapse, so don't worry, you can actually see here in a moment. I'm going to slow this down and show you what the yellow looks like, what it's actually like to color with these pencils. So what I do really love about the Pablo is that the lead is harder so that you can get those fine details. And especially if you're working on a portrait or something that is maybe nature related or realism, you can see that they blend fairly well together. They layer really well. I like how they perform. And they're probably some of my favorite, obviously, from this video and from my previous video for the best colored pencils ever, which, by the way, is an opinion-based video. Some people seem to think that's gospel, and it's not. It's just my opinion in some of these, colored pencils and what I use personally. And they are a drier pencil, but they do still have a creaminess to them. I've never had a problem with the leads breaking, and I love that you can sharpen these to a fine point. However, the one drawback on Pablo is that if you are working with skin tones, there's not a lot of skin tone colors. So we're going to move on to the Faber-Castell Polychromos. And these just feel amazing when you use them. I cannot describe it other than that. You feel confident whenever you use them because you know you're getting a really good product. And they do layer very, very well. They're oil-based as well. All of these pencils are actually oil-based. Some people have asked me about the Caran d'Ache Luminance, and I have used the Lumens, and I really like them. However, I kind of prefer to stay with oil-based instead of wax-based. So I slowed it down here a little bit, and you can tell there's a little bit of a lead shedding there, but nothing like Prismacolor or anything else crazy that I've used before. So I shouldn't have done that with my pinky. I should have used my duster. So just go ahead and disregard that. I'm not perfect. The blue, I love the blue. The range of blues and range of like aquatic colors, cool colors in the Faber-Castell line is amazing. So when you use these, they're extremely versatile, and you can layer them quite a bit without having too much, problems, and you can sharpen them. I've never had any issues with breakage with Polychromos either. So they are more expensive And all of these are actually fairly pricey, but they're really, really good pencils. And so the third one here is the Holbein Artist Pencils, and some people have questioned their quality and some people have had mixed reviews. If you check out some of my, there's a recent time lapse that I did, and you can check it out. And you know, I personally love these pencils. They're softer than the Polychromos, but they've never really had any issues too much with breakage. I think I broke one time, and I was pressing very, very hard, so that might have been my fault. You know, some people have complained about their layering, and I personally have never had any issues with layering. In fact, I've had supreme quality in layering with them. They've actually layered more than the Pablo and the Polychromos, in my opinion, at least in my experience. So I'm not really sure if this is a product issue or if this is the artist at hand using them. You can see that they blend very well together. And so we're going to go on and move on here with the Prismacolor Colorless Blender. Now I know that I have said that I don't use Prismacolors. I don't use Prismacolored Premier. So I do still use their products, except for the colored pencils. So I do use their colorless blender here. And the Pablo do really well with blending. And I've never had any issues with any, you know, any chalkiness or any, you know, blooming as you do commonly with wax-based pencils. And we're going to speed it up just here so that you're not watching me being boring. In comparison with the other pencils, I think that the Pablo probably, they didn't quite blend as well, but they still blend very beautifully here. Like you can see here where they're blending very well. Sorry about the shaky camera. And there I am using my duster like a good girl. And the Polychromos, you know, there's really, I mean, you know, you talk about a flawless pencil. I mean, there's really nothing that I can find negative to say about the Polychromos. They have a fantastic, you know, skin tone line. They have a fantastic way of blending and layering. They just feel like high quality whenever you're using them, as these all do, but they all have a different feel. But they all feel very high quality. Now, these probably blended the best out of all three of them. Very smooth transitioning between colors. As you can see, the orange kind of just sort of manifests itself with the red and the yellow here. And even though the red was a little bit off from the other two reds, you can definitely tell. Now I goofed up here and brought in some of that color and messed it up. That has nothing to do with the pencil. So the colorless blender works really well with all three of these pencils. However, I do prefer trying to use an odorless mineral spirits like the Mona Lisa one that I'm going to use later on in this video. And as you can see, it's very, very nice and very soft. And the Holbein, they blend and they layer very well, in my experience, as I said before. I love the range of colors in this line. It is probably the most versatile and most comprehensive line of colors that I've ever used. If you want to check out my other video, they have an entire tray dedicated to pastels and colors I've never seen before. And it kind of has more of that creamy look that Prismacolors do whenever they're used right. And I'm not trying to sound like a snob, that's just how it is. They blend, I think they blend very well. Some people have complained about them and have questioned their quality. I use other Holbein products and I love them. I use their gouache and I've used their watercolor and I really have nothing bad to say about them. I'm going to speed it up again. This one was probably second best. And even though they're probably my #1 favorites as far as the spectrum of colors goes, the performance out of all three of these, in my opinion, number one goes to Polychromos. But these other two, they're very close behind. You can see how they're very similar. The Pablo is a little bit brighter, and the colors are, you know, a little varied, but they're still relatively the same. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the different colors and layer them and interchange them so that you can see that they can play well with each other, or possibly not. We're going to find out. The first one here is with Holbein. Second layer is Polychromos, as I'm labeling these for you. And I am using the odorless mineral spirits from Mona Lisa, which I really love. It gives it almost a painterly look. Now the Polychromos and Holbein, they played very well together, regardless of who was on top and who was on bottom. It's Pablo and Holbein. They didn't seem to quite play together as well. I do believe that they did better with the Pablo on bottom rather than the Holbein being the first layer. It's the Polychromos with the Pablo, and they play well together, no matter who's on top, who's on bottom. I know what you're thinking. But we're talking colored pencils here, people. So as far as the ratings go, I'm going to give number one, as far as performance goes, to the Polychromos on bottom, and Pablo second. Seem to be the creamiest and the smoothest. Number two went to Polychromos on bottom with Holbein as a second layer. And I labeled this number three, but I'm actually going to change it to number five because it actually had some haze on it. So 3 and 5 are going to be different, and they're going to be swapped out. So number 4 goes to Pablo and Holbein on second. And number 3 is Pablo and Polychromos is the second. So I'll label them down at the bottom so that you don't get confused. One last thing, you can use Mona Lisa Odorless Paint Thinner. I am not a sponsor. It's just what I prefer to use to give it a more painterly look, as I said before. That's a 32 ounce. And the other one, I believe, is a 8 ounce. And just practice safety first, people, because you don't want these getting near your kids or your pets. It is toxic. So like I said, just keep it high and away from the children and the pets. So overall, it is not set in stone as to what is the best pencil. It is up to you. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'll see you later.